Hey Fred, can I get some activism for gay people? Activism for gay people. Hold the actual respect for gay people. The actual respect for gay people. And hold the humanization of gay experiences. Hold the... Hey Jimmy, give me some activism with nothing. Nothing?
It's popular belief that true social equality for gay people has been achieved within the past couple of decades, at least within mainstream Western circles, with a percentage of Americans who believe gay or lesbian relationships between consenting adults should be legal rising from 46% in 2004 to 79% in 2021, as reported by Gallup Historical Trends. And I will not deny that there have been massive improvements throughout the 21st century. However, there is still work to be done, especially within the rhetoric promoted by so-called progressives. When we think of homophobia, the F-slur, parents cutting off children, and extreme cases like those of Matthew Shepard come to mind. But we often forget what kind of bias lies within those who actively support gay people already. Due to the persistent implicit prejudice against gay people, as well as objectification and sterilization of queer experiences within media, especially among those who are vehement allies of the community, homophobia has not disappeared from the mainstream. It has only evolved into more undetectable forms.
What substantiates my claim is not that outright homophobia, transphobia, and violence against queer people has generally remained the norm in Western society, even though it is still present, but the fact that bias is still rampant. This diluted rhetoric bias still be seen in small remarks or insults that persist among conversations today, whether it be calling a man gay or zesty in a vain attempt to emasculate him, or associating certain perceived undesirable activities with being queer. One example of this is a recent tweet coming from Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom, who responded to right-wing influencer Benny Johnson's accusations of fraud against Newsom. Newsom's press office responded by saying, "We got a call from Grindr after this and said your team was their biggest users. Congrats." Wait, I get it. It's funny because Grindr is used by gay people, and that makes Benny Johnson gay, and gay people are supported by the California state. Yeah, this isn't really the gotcha you think it is, Gavin. If anything, it only exposes what you really think of queer people, as pawns to use in a political campaign, while not actually respecting them as individuals. I've found that immature jabs such as these are often used by people who claim to support gay people in order to attack those who are more explicit in their prejudice, but using homophobia to fight a homophobe only makes you as culpable as them. Using a queer app in order to insult or emasculate an opponent won't make you a better leader, but exposes the subtle bias that even those in progressive spaces often hold and are, at times, unashamed of. Newsom's comment exemplifies the type of prejudice that persists in American politics today, liberal homophobia. Scholar Albert Muro explores this in his book De Sodoma et Troika, defining it as a tendency for progressives to support gay people while either not truly seeing them as equals or holding them to specific standards for what is an acceptable queer person. Thus, one of the most persistent forms of prejudice against queer people today lies not within the violent acts of conservatives, but within the widespread and accepted comments made by those who claim to support the community. The next part of my argument can be summed up with this cover photo from New York Magazine. Yes, I'll explain. While more explicit homophobia and prejudice evolved into crude jokes at the expense of queer people, it also evolved into objectification of gay stories and experiences in popular media. The cover photo by The New Yorker shows this, forcing two dolls dressed as the main characters in the hit series heated rivalry to kiss. It may seem endearing at first, but reflects a broader trend of the fetishization of queer stories, and the reduction of complex narratives into devices for pleasure, especially those of gay men. Alex Jung, writing for the New York Magazine and Girls Who Love Boys, explores this trend, noting that this tendency of straight audiences to turn towards queer stories stems from heteropessimism, or the tendency of straight people to express their grievances about being attracted to the opposite gender. And if that sounds unfamiliar, we've seen it before in class.
Jung hypothesizes that hetero romance wasn't doing it for some people anymore, that it's harder to suspend disbelief in a post-Me Too, post-Roe, Epstein-filled, manosphere-poisoned real world where heterosexual male power has no bounds. If romance is an escape from your problems, why read about straight men? Therefore, Jung introduces the growing trend of readers, especially women, to gravitate towards queer stories.
Is that bad?
I don't know, but it's weird, man.
So what exactly is my problem with all of this? Well, just look at the photo from before. The men are literally objects used to elicit pleasure within the viewer. There's something about all of the fawning that Jung would phrase as aggressively heterosexual, like a dominant group is using the struggles and experiences of a marginalized group in order to make their lives easier or more pleasurable. What's more, Jung strengthens Miro's point of liberal homophobia, in the sense that these stories are often sterilized in order to appeal to straight viewers, and that the queer characters are often held up to a standard. He notes that in these stories, there is no diva worship, no esoteric knowledge of Broadway musicals here, nor are there any fraught aspects of modern homosexuality. The flattening effect of apps, sexual racism, body dysmorphia, class hierarchies. The guys aren't cruising dark rooms, popping PrEP, minoxidil, or doxy, or pushing the creative limits of nasal spray technology. The same can be said for heated rivalry. The four main characters are conventionally attractive, straight-passing, and almost unnervingly masculine. It's like the writers took all of the sex appeal that comes with homosexuality and less than half of the struggle that comes with it.
Thank you all so much for attending my seminar, How to Be More Than Just a One-Time Marvel Villain. The key concept here is sex appeal, and unfortunately, none of you possess it.
Trend does not reflect implicit homophobia, unlike Newsom's comments, but rather something else entirely: the cleansing and use of queer stories in order to appeal to straight audiences, who, like Newsom, would claim to support the LGBT community, but often fail to see them as equals, rather as objects or the butts of political jabs.
So if you want to read or watch queer stories to understand a different perspective, go for it. I just hope to bring more attention to the risks behind straight audiences interacting with over-sexualized media that fails to properly represent these stories. Think less about what you're watching, but why you're watching it. Are you watching to understand queer experiences on a deeper, more intimate level, or because you like to see two hot guys kiss each other?
Ourselves focused on the explicitly hateful rhetoric that comes from people on the other side of the aisle, forgetting that it can sometimes be ourselves who diffuse the behaviors that further suppress queer folks. Sure, fanning out over heated rivalry or making a gay joke now and then isn't quite equivalent to kicking out your gay son, but behavior that objectifies or demeans the experiences of queer people may often promote the same message: that this marginalized group of people is not equal to the dominant one, and that their experiences merely exist as either the punchline of a joke or a raunchy sterilized romance rather than an actual struggle.